Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another great episode of Mallcast, the greatest internet shit show that you've ever seen. Today, I'm your host, Pavan, alongside Juan, Asim, Ryan, and Greg. Today, we're going to talk about something that's kind of hitting us pretty hard with online classes and whatnot. That's burnout. For the most part, let's define burnout. Well, what do you guys think burnout is?
I mean,
Online
generally,
classes.
I mean,
Sure.
yeah, I mean that's one cause of it. Generally, burnout is when you're like doing one thing for a long time and you generally are pretty motivated to do it at the start, but because you're doing it for so long and because the conditions in which you're doing like so activity are like not optimal or pretty like terrible, it just ends up making you hate that activity more and more, and you just end up getting burned out on it. At least that's how I see it. Yeah.
That's fair. For me, burnout is when like I lose motivation to do it. Not because I stop in well part of it is because I stop enjoy doing it, or let's say it's a video game or something like that. It's like I lost motivation and I don't want to touch it. And unless I'm forced to, right? Like same with homework and stuff, like I've probably experienced burnout multiple times over the course of like through high school up till now. Um, so yeah, that's my definition more or less, which is kind of overlaps with Austin's. Greg, what about your definition of burnout?
So for me, it's just like getting to a point where you're just so exhausted by doing something that it's not something that you're willing to do anymore. It is completely, any motivation has been burned through and you're done with it. You don't want to keep going. That is how I define it.
Juan, what about yourself?
I sort of agree with Greg, but I also think like at least burnout for me has a lot to do with like the result I'm trying to achieve. So if doing a lot of the same thing but seeing progress or getting closer to my end result or seeing that I can't even get to that result is like a lot better than just doing it the same thing but not even seeing improvement
Any progress.
or progress even if it's in the negative direction sometimes, but you know,
We don't accept that.
happens.
We don't accept
So like a
any of that.
stagnation kind of deal?
Yeah, sort of like how you would stagnate, but then you know, like you can't break through, right? Like a plateau that you're stuck on indefinitely.
Gotcha.
But then you want to, your results are sort of what like also help you feel better and enjoy the tasks you're doing, or
Mhm.
even like doing bad also helps you, right? But not getting anything out of what you're doing is sort of like what leads for me to have intense burnout.
What about you,
Yeah,
Ryan?
I think like the common denominator here with burnout is that a lot of it stems from stress that causes a sort of like mental exhaustion from like being overwhelmed or drained or like unable to meet like an expectation or demand from doing like a task over and over and over again.
And
I
like
think that
a lot of people, I was just gonna say a lot of people also mention like motivation. So
Mhm.
yeah,
And I'd also like that it's not just from like doing like things over and over again. It could also be due to like other factors that it's like you are doing like when you try to do something that like you enjoy that you usually consistently enjoy doing or you don't have a problem doing, and then things happen like there are other external factors that come into play that
Right.
just make you not want to do it anymore.
Right. Yeah, so the like online classes do be hitting hard. I was pretty much burnt out from the second half of spring semester after spring break.
Mm.
Um, all the way through summer and up till now, I'm still feeling the effects of burnout, and that's because online classes are a pain in the ass. They
It's
were a complete monster on its own to deal with. And even if you have like a good support system or friends to like, study with and stuff, it still fucking hurts a
yeah,
lot.
it's a lot easier to burn out on these online classes. There's not that feeling. There's a certain feeling of like community with having to go into your boring same old lecture every time with a bunch of other people that you see in person, and you can complain about the class with them before lecture starts, and you can talk about how bullshit that quiz was after lecture ends, that you really can't do in an online class. So it kind of leaves you feeling more like you're just on an island, and that's so much. It's so much easier to lose motivation when you're just on that island.
And chances are you don't even interact with the people in online class, like, period. Don't even know who the heck they are and cannot be bothered to learn who they are.
Yeah, especially if it's like a new class, right? Like I'm taking, so some of the classes I know that some of my friends are in, like a majority of my classes anyway. I know at least one person who's in that class, but there's just one class that I'm taking where I genuinely just do not know anybody because they're either all new or I've never had a class with them before and I've never interacted with them before.
Yeah.
So that's like a big factor, and like how I motivate myself is like, oh, if I know someone's in there, like I can get that. I'm a very competitive person, so I get like into the rivalry kind of thing where I'm like, oh, you know, we should keep each other motivated kind of deal. But if I have to look for motivation myself, I'm like, I can't be bothered to do this.
I think part of it also has to do with the fact that like when you're in an online class, the standards are different, right? So I feel like personally, when I go to an in-person class, the standards feel a lot higher just because it's a lot easier to hold people to those standards, right? In an online class, like it's a lot harder for professors or even yourself really to hold like yourself to like a certain standard, and so you kind of just like you feel like you're just going through motions at some point because everything is just so like simple and easy, and you're not really putting a lot of like mental engagement into it.
Yeah.
And because of that, you start losing a lot of motivation for what you're actually doing, and you just start getting burned out.
Like it's super.
Right.
It's so
or
easy.
on the opposite end of that spectrum, where it's like you're having a difficult time of coping and you don't feel like you're learning anything, and you just get frustrated because it's harder for you to learn in like a remote online environment where you only have yourself to help you.
Yeah, also true.
Especially with these like harder classes that people are taking now, like those tougher classes are really hard to just like keep up with because there's so much you have to do.
Yeah.
And that's not even considering how like the online environment affects engineering classes, especially ones that require you to build, design things.
Oh yeah, you have experience with that, don't you, Ryan? Like this semester, you're taking a couple classes that require.
I'm taking like a design class right now. Unfortunately, as a material science major, it's I think the only one I really have to take for the foreseeable future, but it hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts because like he's constantly like pushing like the deadlines. It's like, oh, you guys are working online, right? Like you guys definitely have like enough time to do it. And it's like not really. And then
that seems like one of the most common misconceptions professors seem to be having with the online structuring. We do not have more time magically.
I mean, we still have other classes.
Yeah, so. we still have the same amount of classes and the same amount of work, and that, you know, if you have a long commute, you might spend an hour and a half commuting every day. And that's just not enough time to really make a huge impact. Like
that's like the only time that like anybody's really saving from being online is the time like getting to and from class.
Yeah.
But then these people, you have some people that some students are like essential workers. So in this system, they're basically fucked because they have like almost no time to like study for their classes, or a lot less time than most other students. And then there are students that have like other personal responsibilities, or they just have like too many distractions in the house to allow them to focus.
Yeah,
I think
they can't go anywhere else.
Essential workers is like part of that, or like part of like what I'm thinking, where because of COVID, there's like a lot of other like specific factors that have popped up that didn't exist before. You know, like sometimes you just have to, like for example, for me, I prefer that I'm the one that goes out to do like all like the grocery shopping and stuff like that rather than my parents, because like they're older and stuff, so I have to spend more time doing that, you know. And like like people say, or like professors may say like, oh, like you should have more time, but in actuality, like technically if everything stayed the same, then maybe maybe I would have more time, but that's not true, right? Like things are always changing, especially now. So like like things come up, and I'm not just sitting at home all day like on my computer. Like real life activities still exist.
Yeah.
And then the fact that most of the time, like the classes were adjusted to online, so like they still say you're gonna spend the same amount of time, but the actual homework or the assignments go more in depth and force you to like learn by yourself instead of like
Yeah.
how they should be or how they were before
Yeah.
in like in person. But then again, I really haven't felt that because I computer science like 90% of the classes are also online when
Yeah.
it was in
Same with
person.
that, too.
So
Yeah, that's
So-
fair.
A big part of online classes is the lack of interaction, right? Like
Mm.
if you look at it, like professors don't necessarily, they're not used to like having, you know, a chat bar opened up on the side and kind of reading that to see if anybody has questions. And then I have one professor who literally would not read it for the first like few weeks until we told him to. And I know that other professors simply refuse to use it because they want you to speak up kind of like in a normal class environment, but sometimes you can't do that. And so that lack of interactivity, I feel like another, for me, is another big reason as to why I kind of hate online classes. I'd rather do all my classes in person, or
yeah.
like just take the semester off. Like, I feel like that might be a better way, but I can't afford to take a semester off, so I kind of have to struggle with
Yeah.
with the whole online class thing.
Yeah.
do you guys also think like if people were more willing to like speak out in like these online classes, would it actually help? Because it's sort of like the teachers want the students to like do their part, but then it's like a two-way street. We like, you know, it's like rough for us to relate and them to relate, I guess.
Yeah,
So-
to
If
me,
you want,
that
if
is
you
like
want, if you
a-
want teachers to be more accountable for doing their part, you need to do something about tenure.
for me, it's a,
I mean,
like a,
I'm not,
it's a
I
double-edged
wasn't, I didn't want to take it that way. It was more like,
For me, it's like a
oh yeah,
double-edged
so,
sword,
like
right?
obviously it's
Oh no,
awkward.
oh no, oh
to
no,
talk
I know.
online.
It was more a joke if anything.
I think for me, it's more of like a double-edged sword thing. Like, yeah, I could speak out and like do all that stuff during my online classes, but some of my classes they went so far online that they're just saying, "Hey, look at these lecture videos that were recorded way back,
Yeah.
and like just use those as references." And then the
That's-
classes where I do have an online class and it's not like, and it is like kind of interactive, everyone in the class just doesn't want to speak up. It's because I had classes in the spring semester when they moved to online, it was actually really fun because everyone was talking and like it still felt like a class setting. Like, sure, we had to like mute our mics when someone else was speaking and stuff, and that's not that big of a deal. It's just having that discussion amongst your peers as well as the professor and making it seem more normalized to be in an online class setting is a lot better for me compared to if you just kind of go into a class and then you kind of just sit there silently for 2 hours. At some point, I'm gonna fall asleep.
Yeah.
Or like if the person just lectures, I'd rather fall asleep in front of the person because I just won't. Like I'd rather be
Oh,
in
yeah.
person for those separate classes.
Yeah,
If
I'm a repeat offender of that.
yeah.
It's very bad.
I think another
I-
thing is that like professors underestimate the effects that isolation would have on one's cognitive ability.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's also true.
Like when you can't really leave the house, you can't see any of your friends, and you can't change things up that much, if at all, then you
Mhm.
start feeling a lot more lethargic.
And that also
yeah,
depends.
Yeah, that is definitely
like a
driving me
s-
slightly insane.
yeah,
I feel that on a spiritual level.
like us. I mean, like as social beings, it's just a limitation of our biology. Like it's unreasonable to expect anybody to be nearly as productive as usual right now.
It's
Even
also,
even the sweatshop workers that are computer science majors.
yeah, that's also that's
Yeah,
also
dude, my commute is really rough from the bed to the desk. It's like 2 hours, bro.
Mhm.
Takes me 2 hours.
Just being
I'm
able
gonna
to
be real.
drag yourself out of bed,
Yes.
I think is a
But
big.
I
That's
optimized it,
I'm
so I
that.
optimized it now. So instead of going to the desktop, I just bring the laptop to me.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, think about it.
Efficiency.
At this point,
That's why you're a
I-
repeat offender.
It sucks.
That's why you're a repeat offender. You're,
Oh, I did it.
watch-
I did it in real classes too. Like I'd make it to class after a practice. I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna learn. I'm gonna sit in the front. If I sit in the front, I won't fall asleep because I'm like I'm gassed after running 2 hours, and then it's like this. I'm like writing notes, and then I'm just like this for 2 hours, and then and then he's like, "Alright, we're packing up," and I'm like, "Yes, I'm out of here," and that's all I did for a semester.
I'm gonna be real. Like, I have taken to watching as many lectures as possible from my bed, and it's a bad habit. It's a really
bad idea.
Bad
It's a
habit.
bad idea.
I
Because
The thing
you're
is,
so comfortable
generally-
in your bed.
Yeah, I just sit there. I'm just like kind of passively like listening to whatever the professor's saying, like half processing it and being like, "Man, dude,
I'm vibing out here. Stop
just
talking at me.
vibing."
It's like that old saying, like if you like, you know, like put the book over your head and go to bed, like all the knowledge will like sink into your
Yeah,
head.
yeah, I'm doing those. I'm doing
Just
those.
put your
Good old
laptop.
absorption, dude.
Yeah, dude, definitely is how it works. That is 100% how I'm gonna pass EC 429.
Bruh, I've had one of my professors just straight up say in one of the lecture videos is like, "Oh, it's real hard for me to focus, and I could get easily distracted with this a collaborative ultra lecturing. So you guys will have to cut me some slack."
And we're like, how about you
I mean-
cut us some slack too, chief?
Two-way street there, brother. Two-way street. I'm just saying.
This is the professor for the class I have that's actually pretty lax.
Yeah.
I think the main problem was that a lot of teachers didn't adjust their expectations of what happens when you go online, right? Like,
Yeah.
because the way in-person classes I've seen always work is they know how long it takes, sorta, for you to like sit down if you had the book and you didn't have anything else to do it. So they time it and they know like what they can get away with asking you, right? Because there's also cons to doing it that way, right? You can't really go that in depth if you're only spending X amount of time, right? But if you're online, they expect you to go into the detail that
Like,
doesn't really
my professors
happen.
expect me to pre-read the textbooks that I have not ordered, and I do have a copy of the textbook. It's just
I have
like
some
it's an online
sketchy
copy.
PDFs of the textbooks that
I have
is
some
missing an
great
entire
PDF
chapter.
resources for these textbooks. But I
Unfortunately,
just
there are
can't be
no
bothered.
free PDFs of the textbook that I need for one of my classes for the lab. So
yeah,
it's like,
I need to go out and find an actual copy of one of my textbooks because it's missing. one of the chapters
fortunately
I need.
for me, labs are not graded.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm
nice.
glad that I'm taking all
labs
500.
are 100% graded.
I don't have to do any more labs. That's the beauty of taking 500 levels.
I
But the problem
me.
with that is that we also don't have textbooks. So any concepts that's being talked at you, you kind of just have to either absorb it or you ask questions.
Oh yeah, that's
And
because
for
of
the
basic.
completely online classes,
very
the
hard
ones
to ask
where they're just
questions.
like, hey, here's a pre-recorded lecture. You're just like, I want to ask you a question, but I don't want to send you an email because that's
and I
too much
definitely
of a
am not
hassle.
going
Because
to
I don't.
office hours.
It's like I don't know how
Yeah.
to frame my question, right? Like I'd rather just show you, like, hey, this, no understanding, but like I feel like facial expressions kind of help, but
Yeah.
then conveying that through an email is just like,
Show up with the quiz that you got a 0 on, shocked Pikachu face. You're like,
Excuse me.
oh,
How does this work? Please explain.
and then they're like,
I wish we could
equals 2
normalize
for-
emotes
That'd be
in online
great.
classes.
Sometimes I'm like so tempted to say like I don't know, like pog or something. I'm like, wait, that's fucking hella cringe. Like, I can't-
Yeah.
I mean,
There's been multiple times where I'm like, dude, that's nuts, and I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
this professor doesn't care.
yeah.
like I at least in a lot of my classes, like I have a reasonable level of confidence that at least the other students are gonna know what I'm talking about if I started hitting them with some emotes, like because I look at like the other people in my class for like my CS classes and I'm like, yeah, like I know like half of these people and like at least a quarter of the people in this lecture right now will understand
Right.
any emotes I drop in the chat.
I know
Um,
none of the people in my classes.
Yeah, it's like I'm like 99% sure I've seen people drop like Twitch emotes into chats. Like in one of my
Oh,
classes.
I've dropped
But
my
that's
Twitch
because
link in the
of
chat.
a
Last
legendary.
semester I did. Last
Le-
semester a bunch of us did. We all like anytime someone said like a dumb question, it would be like Papega clap, and nobody would understand what it meant except for a couple of us.
Oh my
And we
God.
type in Papega clap,
Yeah.
Like that only happened
that's
like
a
once
good
or
way.
twice.
Oh my
That's
god.
that's like a that's like a sly way of BMing your what do you call it your classmates.
No, but think about it. You can't see if everyone is eye rolling at your stupid question, man. You know, it's not like,
yeah.
Yeah,
like-
like the Pega clap is
Okay,
I-
legitimately,
it's
though,
so
like,
good.
I swear, like,
What is
Go-
the
I'm sorry,
actual
Greg.
etiquette that you should do if like you don't understand something, but you know it's a stupid thing and you should
what
understand?
face?
You just
What
what
face?
face?
I mean, I just
I
you
hope
raise
you
your
have
hand.
what face.
you turn on your camera and raise your hand, and then the
Yeah,
teacher
but if you
has
do that,
to
everyone
call
else is
on.
gonna Papega clap at you. You can't get Papega claps, dude.
I would just wait until after class. You know, I hold my stupid questions for after class.
Yeah, I
That's
usually professors usually stay a little bit after class unless they're in a rush or something, where they're like, hey,
I alt
They're
F4
in a rush to get to the
immediately.
coffee
They
maker.
they go alt F4 immediately.
just
They're
like,
like,
I
alright,
pull
see you
out my
guys.
keyboard,
I
Bam.
don't want alt F4s
Got my
online
keyboard.
classes
I
immediately.
got alt. I got F4. I hit him. I'm done. I'm out of here.
Exactly.
don't
Don't
want
you dare
Zoom
hit alt
running
F4
any
right
longer
now,
than it
Greg.
needs to
Don't
be.
do it. Don't
I'll
alt
do it.
F4 right now.
I'll do it. I'm definitely
What
not
time-
hosting this.
Okay, how is Juan supposed to be able to alt F4 out of a lecture if he's attending the lecture on the toilet?
You see, what he does is he drops his phone in the toilet.
my
Easy.
God,
No.
We're not gonna let Juan live that down.
Never.
That's so
Never.
funny. He's like, yo, I'm in the bathroom and riding the porcelain pony, baby. Let me just ask my question real quick. Turn on camera, half naked, and you're like, "What's up, professor?" The professor's
I
gonna be
mean,
like,
it's not like
"Where
Juan's ever
are
wearing-
you?"
Juan's never wearing a shirt anyway, so he's definitely shirtless there.
Yes, bro. My mom called me. She's like, "Are you in class?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Put a shirt on." I'm like, "They're not seeing me. It's 80 degrees in my room. I don't know." And then she made me put a shirt on, but
Oh
you
my
know.
god.
Exactly, dude.
Yeah.
That's why you
Oh,
don't
it's
video
rough.
call your parents, dude.
Well, they have
You
they
kind of
video
have
call
to.
me.
You kind of have
Yeah.
to do video calling, especially when they're so far away.
Nah, I
But like,
guess.
still on like the topic of burnout, it's just
Mm.
I don't know. I feel like
Makes you alt
because we
F4
had
life.
so much time over summer of almost not doing anything, I
Oh,
feel like
yeah.
it's accelerated how much I burn out on video games as well.
Yeah, like I took
And,
a
like
few,
Twitch streams and stuff
Mhm.
too.
I took a few summer classes to try to give myself like a little bit of purpose through the summer,
Mhm.
but it's just like taking statics is not enough work to give yourself purpose. That class was
No.
I think too is that
really
like when
pretty
it comes
easy.
to video games and stuff, like because I know that like a lot of time like I'm stuck at home, right? But like if I spend a lot of my time at home like playing video games, it's gonna be really easy for me to fall on the trap to like just play more and more because I know that like me having to leave the house is gonna be very rare, and so if I just get more absorbed in video games, I'm just gonna avoid all my other responsibilities.
It,
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
I
but then you
thought
also
if I thought I could get away with it, I'd play video games like 8 or 9 hours a day. I just know I don't have time for that, so I play like
Yeah, like I don't need to go anywhere, so
Yeah.
I'll start playing in class. Like
I have played
In
video
middle
games
class,
in class.
Yeah.
before.
Unmute your mic and you're like, "Yo, they're rushing
what-
B."
I'm not gonna lie.
Super.
One time, like what do you call it? I was Oh wait, did my? Oh yeah.
You lag.
What do you call
a
it?
little bit.
I'm not gonna lie. One time, like I was in class, and yeah. I wasn't playing like in class, but I was playing before class, and like after class ended, I was in the in the zone of like playing games or whatever, and so
Yo, GG.
at the end of class, like I hit GG instead because like at the end of every game I just hit GG, but at this time in class I just actually hit GG. So thanks, professor. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna leave. Don't call
GG
that.
Thanks for the lecture, prof.
You just gotta drop a GG easy after
No.
you
Yeah.
take a test and
One
then just
time-
leave.
Yeah, no, I nearly did that for one of my tests where I just
Like-
literally typed in GG easy.
The thing is, I feel like it comes down to the structure of the class, right? And
Mm.
a lot of my classes are very hands off. Like,
Mhm.
they're like, okay, yeah, this is sort of like what you need to know. This is like where you can find it, and this is like what the teacher knows about it and can like pinpoint what mistakes people are usually going to make. So I really have no incentive to be like, hey, wake up at 8 a.m. Well, not wake up, open the lecture at 8 a.m.
Exactly. Like you
And
can
then-
even just fall asleep.
So
Yeah, so,
I know someone who like didn't want to wake up and then just turn on the lecture and went right to bed. It was so
Yeah.
funny.
I,
Because his roommate sent a picture and it was just funny. I'm not gonna out the person, but you know, I'm pretty sure we all know who the real degen is.
I have.
I've done it too. I mean,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think in the case of like the losing motivation for online classes, I think we should also consider how it is on the opposite side spectrum for like some of the teachers.
Mm.
Like for the really good ones, it's like some of them are also probably just demotivated to like teach the classes.
Mhm.
Like maybe it's like your professor's a wife who's being a complete basket case and needs extra support. They have kids that are like, yay, daddy's home. And then they have like hundreds of student emails that waste their time with stupid shit that
Yeah.
like students would know if they just read the assignment instructions. And you've had like some teachers that probably had to like learn how to be a webmaster, a YouTube channel celebrity, a video editor, and hundreds of other things, all while still getting a shit ton of paperwork to fill out, purchase orders to generate, and special projects to update. It's
Not to mention that sometimes like they don't have good communication from the school. Cause like for example, like how many different things are professors using to actually hold their classes, right? Like I have one using Zoom, one using Collaborate Ultra, one using Google Hangouts.
yeah, there's nothing uniform.
Yeah, exactly. So like the school's like, yeah, just it's online, do your thing, but and like follow
And the
these.
professors are like, what do you mean do our thing?
Yeah,
We've
and so they have
only
to-
ever known how to go to in-person classes because that's
Yeah,
a
and
box.
so they have to
Like,
figure
that
out
shit's
their own.
fire, and then the school just goes no, and then the whole country goes like no, we're in the middle of a pandemic, you can't see anybody in person.
Yeah, and then the professors are expected to figure out like their own like way to do everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you are one of the holy trinity of the Illinois Tech professors.
Hmm.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no.
Electric ECE students will know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Don't tell me that. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like there is some nice thing about the fact that there's not like a uniform mandate for the professors that they have to follow, because like the different, depending on how they want to run their class, the different platforms can have different upsides and downsides. So it's nice that they have flexibility, but as far as I can tell, they don't just have flexibility, they also have a lack of support. And that's where the issue comes in. So I've had a couple of professors who are having like a good deal of technical issues, even with IIT's own platform on Blackboard with Collaborate Ultra.
Yeah, it's scuffed.
And it's
like
it's really scuffed when I show up to lecture and the first 20 minutes of the lecture are technical issues. And I'm like, why am I here? Why am I wasting my time right now? Like,
I think
it's really frustrating to me, and I'm sure
And
it's
then-
even more frustrating to the professor.
no, then you look at like how they're trying to like implement hybrid classes, right? Where you have like asynchronous hybrid, where you have people who can take it online as well as, and then IIT has the rooms not set up right. Like usually you'd have someone there already manning the camera or something, right? And then they just don't do it.
Yeah.
It's like zero tech support for the professor, and like most professors, let's be honest, unless they're like they know their current technology and like know all these various things, they're not going to be bothered with it until like technical stuff hits them. And so when the technical stuff hits them, they're just like, this is scuffed. Like I'm taking like a hybrid class and I'm going to in person for it like twice a week.
Mhm.
I remember the first day he was like, oh, let's try this, and then the what is it, the was it the overhead projector to like project like paperwork and stuff just didn't work. It didn't connect to Collaborate Ultra.
Yeah.
So it was just like he was just there like I don't know what to do, folks. I genuinely don't know what to do.
Juan just died.
I am now
And has
one.
become a
I am
You're now
taking Juan's spot. I am
Let's
one.
go.
Don't worry, I fixed it so fast. No one
No,
noticed.
I wanted to be one.
You don't get to be
Imagine
Juan.
being Juan for a day.
You
Kinda
can
weird.
you are not
Maybe
number one.
I
Bit of
wanted to
weird-
be CSL Gold League Clout Master.
Choking the natty, dude. Choking
Unfortunately,
the
the
natty.
man choked the
Wait,
natty.
what happened?
Wait, I'm on again. I'm
happened?
on again. I'm on again.
I've been
Are you
I've
sure
been-
you don't want to be?
I've been
No!
talking. I've been
You
talking.
muted
for
your
you're
mic
muted.
and then you turned off your cam. Like you're
Yeah.
a bot. You're,
Yeah,
you're an
I think
actual
you
bot.
died.
You make us mold and eat paint and everything.
We are all professional.
Unlucky.
contributors
Choking the
here.
natty and then now you're choking a podcast. How can you choke on a podcast, Juan? You literally have two things to do. not mute
No,
your
is
this
mic
even
and
a
keep your
podcast?
webcam
I
on.
think
But
it's
still,
really
you
just people
talk.
talking about random bullshit.
I can't outshine all of you guys. I can't just look pretty, you know. It happens. I'm sorry.
All right. I appreciate
I
that.
mean,
What were you
that's
gonna
really all
say?
you're
What were you
providing
talking
us.
about when your mic was muted?
I was gonna say that like the structure of each class and like what the class entails is like super important to how efficient it can teaching is, right? Because like I mean computer science, there's like specific topics you need to know or specific topics that lead to other things, and the teachers identify it and they're just like, this is the stuff I need you to learn, this is the questions that are really hard, and this is where you need to use your brain a little bit.
Hmm.
So
Wait, you
For-
can use your brain?
no, Stack Overflow does it for me.
There
but,
we
you
go.
know.
Yeah, Stack
Stack
Overflow
Overflow.
is the brain, online
Hey,
brain,
man,
Imagine not answering every computer science problem with Stack Overflow.
wireless
Hey, man,
brain. by
I
the way.
can't ask my stuff on Stack Overflow. It doesn't fucking exist. It's so
I've-
bad.
That's why you
I've
should be a
been-
CS major. Easy.
I've actually been learning CS through Kahoots. Literally, that's
Really?
this semester.
Are you actually serious? That sounds so much more fun than like, hey, you have to watch these two lectures this
Our
week,
professor,
and
I
here are
mean,
the slides and handouts for it. Go
our,
watch
pro-
it, and then
our,
you're
pro-
just like,
our professor would be on Friday recitation instead of like you having to like write it down on the notebook and turn it in at the end. He's like, Kahoot every Friday,
Hell
and
yeah,
the
dude.
questions
Actually,
are super
that's-
hard. They're super hard. I
But
get
I'm
like
sure
2
it's
out
fun,
of 10
right?
right,
That's it. I know
but I'm
it's-
just like
That's
I'm hyped.
Yeah,
I
I
get
know,
into
I
it
know
at
Saley
8.
did that when we moved online because Saley
it's a
is a
game
god,
show.
and I'm
Like
gonna
a
shout
game
out
show
Saley for
method
being
is so much
amazing.
more fun for me
See,
when
like,
you do
that's-
quizzes or something.
That's a good and unique way to help with that interaction stuff, both like socially and like with like the actual class itself. So I
It
don't know.
also
I've-
helps with like
that's, like, the first time I actually heard
managing
that, but it's
burnout
actually
because
cool.
you can't actually
Yeah,
feel burnout.
Hmm.
Because was it in my like I took a psychology class a couple years ago. Awesome, you took the same one. It was industrial psych,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and like they talk about burnout there in like organizational sense,
Yeah.
but like that's very
I
easily
also-
relatable. Yeah,
When you're doing the same
is
thing-
Juan
when
the
you're doing
only
the same
person
thing
in
every
this
day.
call who hasn't taken industrial psych?
Wait, what do you guys take it
Because
with?
it's useful.
Yeah.
it's really
mean, yeah,
nice
I
as an
li-
organization. It's
My
kinda,
advisor was like, "Oh god."
I was just gonna say it kind of helped with like organizing and like making sure you recognize the signs of burnout a
Mhm.
lot
Yeah.
faster.
My advisor was like, "Yeah, you're gonna have to take a psychology class, and this is probably like the most useful one, if not
Yeah.
like
It's-
the only real useful one." So
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh."
It's like
Also,
one of the easier
Well,
ones.
actually,
too.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
think he
what
said
I
it
was
was
gonna
the only real useful one, but he basically said
It's
it was
like one of
most-
the easier ones as well.
it's
Yeah.
easy, and the like applications of it as an engineer are really obvious. Like
I mean, really any occupation. out
STEM.
there.
Yeah.
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 so
Like any
it's,
STEM program that's really easy.
it's
Just apply it.
highly recommend it. Anyone who needs higher level social sciences take that class though. Really interesting, not that hard. Great combo in a higher level social science. It's a 300 level. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, 300 level being, I wouldn't say easy, but it's a lot easier to understand and like kind of absorb
Yeah.
that information because you can apply it anywhere. Like,
Yeah.
if people ask for examples, you can just be like, "Yo, I know exactly what you're talking about,"
Yeah.
instead of being like,
There-
"I have
there's-
zero clue what you're talking about.
Yeah, there's
I've
not-
never dealt with these things before," and then most people have probably dealt with it before.
Yeah, there's not a lot of like super abstract concepts that came up. It was all really understandable. Yeah.
And
Right.
most of the time, it's multiple choice, people. That's
Dude, multiple choice saved my life. On IO Psych.
I did not
Like,
have multiple
actually-
choice for IO Psych. Well,
Unlucky.
I did. There were a portion of multiple choice, but a lot of it was like short answer and like.
I think
yeah,
Asa and
she-
I took the same professor, but different years.
Who do you guys
Oh, I don't remember the name of the professor I had for IO Psych, but he was a student that was like getting his PhD, and
Mm.
part of
Okay.
it was like teaching the class.
think?
I had some Indian lady, so
I think
Yeah,
his name
that's
was.
the same one.
I think his name was Freddie Chu, or
Hmm.
something.
yeah, I didn't have that one.
Yeah, no, I didn't have that one. And, like, the other professors were super nice.
Yeah.
And, like,
I don't know. I
super
don't think there's a
chill.
bad professor for
It-
that class anyway. So
He
it's not really bad.
was really chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like most of the psych people are chill, which is
Yeah.
something I found. But
Yeah.
the main thing is we're going off on a big tangent.
Yeah, that was a
Kinda
huge
steer us-
tangent. to
I'm
just
gonna
shout
steer
out
us
IO
back
Psych
into,
as a great
into burnout
class.
and like I don't
mean,
know. I
it's-
feel like I now after taking that class, right? I recognize the signs of burnout. I can identify it for myself because every night I fall asleep tired, but then I wake up tired. And it's not like I didn't get good sleep. It's just that I dread doing stuff for
Yeah.
either academics or whatnot, and it's just like I'm bored. I'm gonna be honest. I'm fucking bored. I'm really bored with like how classes are going.
Mm-hmm.
At least with in-person classes, like in my undergrad classes, and especially like the last like 2 semesters. So my 4th year, like the professors would straight up call on you and roast you, and that would be a fun experience. Like,
Yeah.
sure, you might not like getting roasted, but like getting asked questions kept you engaged in class, and like
Yeah.
not being able to do that in an online environment really just sucks.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like my brain's being engaged at all. Because I have people talking at me, but nothing's going through. Right? Like it's like talking.
Yeah.
It's like these professors are talking to a brick. Like multiple students would just make up a giant brick wall.
Yeah.
And at
That's-
some point, either the professors understand that, or the student understand that, and they're like, "Dude, I can't learn anything from
Yeah,
this class."
the
And then
lectures,
they just take like.
the value of the lectures really has gone down for me as well, just because of how much more passive I am in them. But like, I don't quite feel like that sense of like constant boredom, just because like, I'm almost always doing something, and I wouldn't call myself bored as long as I'm working on a project of some sort. But I am constantly tired in that same way. Like, I start the project, like, I'll start doing my CS lab, and I'll start it tired, and by the time I'm done, I'm mentally exhausted, and I don't want to do more work. But I just move on, and I go to sleep. I wake up the next day, and I say, okay, I need to do homework for my physics class, or for one of my ECE classes. And I start that, and I'm already tired, and I finish it, and I'm mentally exhausted, and I don't feel like doing more work, and I just want to go back to sleep. But
Right.
I've been working for like 2 hours, and it's like 11 a.m.
Not enough.
And
It's
I-
not even enough.
I
And
can't
I'm like,
go to sleep at noon.
I'm the same way. Where like I did like a lecture yesterday, like one of those online lectures things.
Yeah.
And I had to like watch one of the lecture videos, and it was like an hour 15, right?
Yeah.
And they started late too, so the recording actually started like so the whole thing was just an hour.
Yeah.
And I was taking notes at the same time and trying to process everything. By the end of it, I got so mentally drained that I had to take like an hour nap. I
Yeah.
straight up took an hour 30-minute nap, and when I woke up, I was still tired.
I had a 3-hour long
crazy.
lecture yesterday, and I straight up like was finding it so hard to focus that I just opened up a video game and started like half playing a video game, half listening to lecture, not doing neither at an even remotely competent level.
Yeah.
Just my brain was completely off, even though there was technically 2 different things that I was doing. Neither of them were actually being done mentally, like.
Yeah, I don't think I
cognizantly.
could ever play like a video game, but like what I do is like if I'm really bored with the lecture, I start opening up YouTube.
Yeah.
Or Twitch, and I
Yeah.
start like playing something in the background. I play music in the background so that at least it like keeps my mind in like, hey, there's a noise. There's a noise apart from the one you're supposed to focus on, and like it's not like annoying. It's just like, hey, better stay awake. There's noise.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was trying to do. Like, I was just trying to make it so I wouldn't just pass out.
During a lot of times, what I just start doing is I just start working on stuff for like either ITE or like school, you know. So what do you call it? Like I don't know. I guess like it's more productive, but also because of that, I just start paying attention less in lecture. So I just always have to find myself like going back and technically having to do more because I had to spend more time doing that. But I don't know. I feel like it works out fine. I think most like for me, like more than like being bored of stuff. I don't know what it is, but like online classes just give me more anxiety. I don't know why it's like that. I feel like because there's a lot of like randomness to it or like uncertainty, it just feels like I get more anxiety because of that. But I don't know. That's just like my like big issue with it, not necessarily like being bored and stuff.
Right, and with the online classes right now, it's just like I start something up and it's just I finished. So I have like a whiteboard like in the back here that I just write down whatever I need to do for either the day, the week, or like anything that comes up, right? And I takes one off, and then I write 3 extra things, and I'm just there like, what the fuck is my life? I don't even have time. Like, I feel like I don't have time or the mental capacity to actually apply for jobs. When this is supposed to be the time I should be applying for jobs, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm in
Yeah,
my final
agree.
year. I need to be applying for jobs like almost every single day, trying to get interviews, all that. But then at the end of the day, I'm like, I don't have, like, I'm mentally drained.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think other than that too, like kind of going back to the whole uncertainty thing. Like, I mean, I guess it is a lot easier than it was before, like at the start of COVID. But now,
Mhm.
like, you know, everyone's kind of even like I wouldn't say desperate, but like everyone's just like really concerned. Like, yeah, what really is like the job market? Like, you know, like, am I okay or like
Am I
is it gonna
fucked
be
for the next year and a
yeah? Is
half
it
until the
harder?
economy
Yeah,
recovers? Yeah.
yeah. So like, there's like a lot of uncertainty to consider there too, and just a lot of
Right.
like people are just gonna, you know, like they want to search for jobs, but they're like how worth is it going to be? Like, am I gonna be like just like screwed right now, or am I actually gonna find something? Yeah.
Sorry. I'd say that I'd say we're going to be stuck with that uncertainty for like another year or so.
Yeah.
Like until we can get like an actual vaccine out there and tested
Yeah.
and working.
Like something that actually.
So that way we can have like an actual
Right.
like procedure
Yeah.
for like living with COVID. Because like people are saying that it's going to be kind of like the flu where we have to like make a new vaccine every year for it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But, you know, moving away from, like, I guess the academic stuff, do you guys feel burnout from video games, like I mentioned before?
Yeah,
Because
100%.
I'm feeling burnt out.
I know Eric was talking about earlier. It's like he doesn't even feel like motivated to play the games that he enjoys because of the burnout
Yeah.
on occasion.
Yeah, I would.
I'm not
that's
playing
happened
80
to
hours
me.
a week.
Juan, you're putting in an insane grind recently, and I respect that. But
And you're not burnt out from it? One?
I think generally,
Or have you gotten to the point where you're just, like, indifferent about it?
It's
It's
not,
like
I mean,
you're
the
improving,
thing
but
is-
then when you see you stagnate, right? Like when you get to like at your point, like in League,
Yeah.
for example, you're not able to crack to the next like Elo or MMR set. Like,
I
come
mean,
on, that's gotta like. I feel
it-
like League
it
burnout's pretty
doesn't burn me.
real.
It doesn't. League burnout is pretty real, but it's like it's more just because the game makes me mad over because I'm burnt out of the game. Like, obviously, I can still play League. It's just I don't enjoy the game. I mean, for
Yeah,
Counter
no, that's what I'm saying. If I don't enjoy a game, I feel much less motivated to play it, and like that's been happening with Overwatch for me because I get such shit games. Oh my god, that could be its own episode on its own. But
Oh yeah.
I want to keep this short by like I want to keep my comment short. Basically, I have requirements that I have to meet, and every time I open up the game, I don't feel like doing it unless I'm playing either with someone or with the team in like a scrim
Yeah.
setting.
I mean, generally, like for me, when it comes to video games, I don't know how to describe it, but like I find myself not wanting to play the games I really care about like the most. Like for example, like obviously I want to play a lot of Valorant right now, but I don't like playing Valorant right now because the matchmaking is utter. Excuse my language, but it's utter dog shit, right?
We've
That's
been
just
cursing
simple.
this entire
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
language has been way far excused. I've
Okay.
said fuck multiple times.
Okay, but yeah, the matchmaking is utter dog shit, and I just do not want to play right now. But the issue
Yeah.
is that like I'm not really motivated to play other games competitively too. Like Apex, for example, I play it, like I'll play ranked, but I don't really care about it. Like I
Yeah.
do not care if like what rank I am, and so I find myself like not necessarily enjoying it, but just like playing it because it's something to do in my free time, and it doesn't, you know, actively make me mad or
Yeah.
frustrated. So I'd much rather do that rather than just like be in a situation where there's something I enjoy, but I keep getting into situations where it makes me frustrated, and I don't want to end up hating it.
Yeah, for me,
Yeah.
like I'm finding that like I set out minimum requirements of playtime and individual practice for the Counter-Strike team, and I am doing enough to make sure I meet my own requirements,
Yeah.
and then I really don't feel like doing more.
Yeah.
So
Same.
I'm playing just enough by myself to not be in trouble, except I'm the one running that team, so I'd be in trouble with myself. So it's like, it's really
Same.
just so
Like
I
the
don't look
astronaut
bad.
meme.
It's the same thing with
The
me for
astronaut
Dota, where
meme.
I'm literally just like doing enough, like outside just to like do the minimum requirements. Overwatch, I have not fucking bothered. I am not even calibrated yet.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just I just cannot be bothered to play that game like outside of scrims right now.
all of us like kind of like manage like the games that we're a part of, right? And so I guess that brings up another point is that like we also spend so much time managing the games that we actually are, and there's so many like obstacles that come with that like it probably kills some of our motivation to actually do like in-game stuff too, or like play the game like outside of it. And especially now, because you know there's so much more there's so much more going on, because it kind of feels like now for me personally, like even though I still enjoy playing all these games, because like I'm at home and home has now become my workspace because of school, and now that like what do you call it, I'm doing technically work for Valorant, it just feels like rather than me doing something that I'm enjoying, I'm doing something that I'm like that's a job, right? And so it just like the burnout kind of extends like to that too. But I try to limit like how much I'm actually interacting with the game so that I don't end up hating the game, you know. But you can't help but feel it. It's just you're just stuck in this endless cycle of like doing a bunch of managerial work, something that like, you know, an obstacle comes up, and like you're also doing it like the place where you also do your schoolwork too. And so
I think that's where like a lot of these esports organizations have actually done a lot of, you know, with their whole like, oh, let's do a gaming house thing, and now they're kind of straying away from that and having like, hey, here's your work facility and here's your home, and like kind of splitting that apart. And I think that's another big thing. And like I feel like that's the same thing with academics and like with playing video games as well, like having that space to work in, or having like you can actually like switch on and off like when you want to work and when you want to relax. But when you have everything done from home or done from like the same room,
exactly,
from like the last 5 months or more, you start to get really fucking annoyed. Like I lose my shit a lot more now than I would have, let's say, 5, 6, 8 months ago, right? Like the start of the year. Like I wouldn't have lost my shit as much compared to now, because I'm just so sick and tired of being in my room. Where if I have an excuse to go out, like even if someone's like, hey, come over, I'll be like, yeah, dude, fuck it. Like if I have a class, I'll just be like, nah, dude, I don't care about the class. I just need to go outside right now.
What I'm doing to try and force myself out is, even though most of my classes are online, I'm still walking to campus with my laptop, and I watch my classes from campus. Because when I don't do that, I watch them from my bed. And as much as it's really nice to just lie on my bed while I'm watching a lecture and have my cat just come sit with me, and it's very nice, I don't pay attention like that. I don't actually process the lecture. So like by forcing myself to go to campus, I'll actually pay attention to the lecture and I'll like process what's happening. Even though I still don't have that like general feeling, because like I'm not just in my room in my bed where I normally would just be sleeping or you know.
And I feel like that's also a big reason as to like why I like, even if it's a hybrid class, I had a choice on whether I could do it online or in class, and I just said if I can come to in person, I will come in person, because I personally don't care about COVID enough, like in terms of, hey, I'm going to be at risk because I'm taking all the precautions that I can. The people around me are taking all the precautions that they can. The campus is doing everything that they can. And so at that point, I'm like, okay, I'm probably going to be okay for the most part if I just, you know, keep doing what I do. But I just need to get the fuck out of my house before I break something. Because there have been many a time where I've like literally gotten out of bed and I'm like, I need to break a glass bottle against the wall right now.
That's not
it's
good.
just that's not good, but like it's not pissed off. It's just like I need something to like wake me up, instead of like, because previously I could be like, the way I'd wake up is like, oh my god, I have to catch a bus to get to class. No, we're not sponsored, Greg. You can't do that.
Oh no, yeah, you're right. Damn,
no product placement here.
I'm just doing it because I'm really tired. Because I stayed up.
That's the wrong brand.
I stayed up.
That's the wrong brand. That's the wrong brand right now. That's the wrong brand right now.
If I actually
you're baiting us.
Didn't stay up.
Ryan, I felt like you wanted to say something.
It's the inferior brand.
Yeah.
I mean, I technically kind of have an excuse to get on Fridays, but one, I have old people in my house, and two, it requires me to go to campus, which I commute. I'm in Rogers Park, so I'm like an hour and a half at the very least. and I have to take the bloodline to get to campus to and from.
Yeah, I mean,
Which puts me puts me and my parents at more risk than it does just me simply going outside.
Yeah, because you're not
I'm
just
gonna
like in a car by yourself. You're in a train with a bunch of other people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna train with a bunch of other people. I'm gonna train full of colorful people, Greg. Not just any kind of people. The most colorful people in the entire goddamn city.
I mean, what do you call it?
Personality-wise, anyway.
Let's make that clear.
I'm in a similar situation where like I live with my parents, so I'd rather just avoid anything. But also like, I drive, so I commute, but I would just rather avoid like the commute altogether, because
right, but you still have like your own version of a break, right? Like getting groceries is kind of like a break from staying enclosed in like a closed off area, compared to, let's say, me, why literally I'm in my room 24/7 for the last few months, and I literally just, the only time I go out is maybe to get groceries, and I go for like a 10-minute walk, and that's about it. But now with like going to campus, I'm at least like enjoying that commute. I'm like, okay, campus is pretty close. I can hang out on campus a little bit. I get to see some like people that I haven't talked to in a while. Like Isaac, I haven't talked to almost all of summer, and then seeing him in the esports center every day is really great, because like it's just like having that social interaction. Like Orion said at the start, right? Being social creatures, having that social interaction helps. And then with some of my classes, even though they're online, a bunch of us are like, hey, do you guys just want to group like watch it together in like someone's house? And we're like, yeah, that's the best.
Yeah.
And so that's what I do. I try to do that twice a week, and so I try to like kind of force myself out of the house until I have to get back by like dinner time, basically.
Like even if you're super introverted, you still need like just having like people around you, like helps with like mental clarity.
Yeah. And like I feel bad for those that don't have roommates, right? Like for those that actually genuinely have to isolate themselves and don't have roommates, like they're probably getting the brunt of it.
Yeah, my roommate and my cat are helping with my sanity quite a lot.
Cat cam.
Cat cam, like he's right over there.
Oh well.
There's the cat.
He's just straight chilling.
Yeah, he's just
chilling. He's vibing.
He's been sleeping through this whole thing.
He's in the vibe corner.
Not moved.
Even the cat is losing motivation.
Yeah,
the cat
exactly.
Never had motivation. He just lounges around all day and sleeps. And occasionally he'll yell at us to give him food.
The cat is me.
I also feel like a good way to like approach like what we all feel is sort of like understanding that if we do something towards what we want, even if it's very small, it's gonna feel better in the long run, right? It's not like right now everyone is like is used to making leaps and strides in terms of like how their lives were, but now it's like you take baby steps towards the goals you want.
Exactly. Like we've slowed down that much. We kind of have to slow ourselves down. And I feel that like, I don't know, I feel like I've been looking at it wrong with like, doing tasks and stuff and like work, because I'm like, oh, I need to get all my work done, instead of going like, hey, I need to get this done first and this done, because I do feel the sense of satisfaction when it comes to like, hey, I need to get this one thing done and I have to get this next thing done. So that's kind of nice. But in esports, I kind of want to move away from academics and our personal lives and kind of look at it from a broader perspective, because we've heard of cases where a lot of people just got burnt out from the game that they're playing. And it might be due to them being in an environment where they just don't have like, what is it? They don't have that ease, I guess, to like just stop playing the game for a little bit, or like unable to take that break.
They're playing a dead game. They just got to get out of there,
Every game's not even like a dead game.
Every game's a dead game. Just so you guys are aware.
Like recently, what was it? A couple months ago or a couple weeks ago, a big Overwatch League player, Space, had like mental breakdown on stream because he's like, I have to play this game, but I really hate playing this game. Like I genuinely hate it, and he had like a full blown like breakdown on it. So, like that stuff's scary when you see like someone who's usually calm, cool, collected, having fun with the game all the time, just suddenly like reach that snapping point, snap immediately, and be like, yo, I really hate this game. And like a lot of players go through that burnout.
And I'm pretty sure the similar thing happened in CS recently, right? Where a lot of players were citing the fact that they were playing in so many tournaments that
Yeah.
Like
they
Astralis
were-
players, Astralis
yeah.
players,
Yeah.
all of them were like, "Hey, we're burnt
Yeah.
out. We kind of want to take a break," and that's what they did. And the
Yeah,
same thing for OG and Dota, right, Ryan?
I mean, for OG, one of the players just had a baby at the age of, just became a father at the age of 22, Thompson,
Yeah.
Oh,
and for it's more so that like players don't really have like income because there was no TI this year due to COVID. So
Oh yeah.
a lot of them are kind of like going, "What the fuck are we gonna do?"
it's
Yeah,
like
'cause-
streaming's like their best
Yeah.
bet, and that too. Like
'Cause
Like,
all
like,
some
the
people
money-
might not
there
like
have been like
streaming.
a lot of personalities like casters and such that have just
Mhm.
been like, yeah, let's stream. In fact, one of the hosts, Rich Campbell, who we got from WoW, and he started hosting tournaments for Dota. He hosted like TI9, and he is really good. And he hosted the recent Omega League for WePlay. That
Mhm.
was his last panel, was the WePlay Omega League, because it's like, yeah, I'm actually not really getting that much out of hosting at all. I get a lot more money from just streaming. Like it's just not sustainable to like be a host.
Yeah, and you also see like a lot of these big streamers also just go on like month-long breaks because they're just like, dude, it's not. It's like
heck,
they're
Super-
recognizing that like they might get burnt out, but it's like, yeah, I'm gonna.
There's
like,
also
take a chill pill.
there was
I need
also
that
like
vacation.
another player in Overwatch, Super, who plays for SF Shock, who
Mhm.
just went on stream, is just casually is like, oh yeah, okay, awesome is me now, and I am awesome.
We're just gonna leave it. Awesome will be back
Yeah.
probably.
Soon.
Probably.
Yeah, keep talking, Ryan.
Yeah, he
Or
just
awesome.
casually said on stream, oh yeah, I'm gonna be done with Overwatch League next season. I'm just like done. And
Yeah,
he's
'cause he talked
gonna
about it
go
too,
full
'cause he
content
reacted-
creation.
Yeah, he was talking about the space clip because a bunch of people in his chat were like, "Hey, did you see what happened in space?" Like, yeah, there's a lot of people like Overwatch League players who do that.
Yeah.
Like, it's easier being on like a top level team because it just is easier. Like, you're the very best. It's kind of easier to stay motivated that way because like you want to keep being the best. But for the teams that don't perform that well in tournaments, I feel like that burnout hits them a lot faster because they're like, I'm putting in all this work, but I'm not yielding the results that I should.
Yeah, but
And then
because
that
on the other end of
burnout
the
is
spectrum-
multiplied. It's even multiplied further for people in tier 2 and tier 3 scenes.
on the other
And,
end of
yeah.
that, though, you have teams like in Counter-Strike, like the Astralis players who are still getting burnt out. They won everything. They were winning every goddamn tournament. Typically, they were really dominant while they were doing it. No one could touch them on a teamwork and coordination standpoint. Tactically, they were a tier above everyone else, and their mechanics were arguably the best in the world, and that's the only thing that was even arguable.
Or for them,
and they
probably
still burnt
though.
out.
I would guess that they were just kind of feeling monotonous because they were already at the top, right? Like,
Yeah,
where else could they really go to?
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
They can go to a higher peak, just get even further up top.
Yeah,
Like that's
Yeah.
it. Like,
yeah, but there was just no more crowns for them to take. No more conquests left.
Right, and the
Just
way
ran
they
out.
combated it was, which is what I was kind of alluding to at the start of this, was like, hey, how do we fight burnout? And that's taking a break. Like, I went on like a month-long break of Overwatch after our summer tournament, and I'm back to the game, and I'm like, I'm not like dreading to play the game, but it's like, matchmaking's kind of bad, so I'd rather scrim than actually play the competitive solo queue side, like the ladder side of things, but it's not burnout in that sense,
Mhm.
It's like I'd rather just not play competitive because it's just so shit right now.
Yeah.
And
And part of that is just
Like
it's-
having those breaks, I feel like if we had that break for academics or something
Yeah.
like that, in academia, as students, they're like, hey, here's a week-long break, which is usually the worst time, like in the fall semester, because the week-long break is Thanksgiving break, and then right
Mhm.
after that you kind of in the finals
yeah,
mode.
finals.
So you like it's not really even a break. Kind of like the only break that we do get is either at the start of the semester, like the first few weeks where things are easing in, and then after your finals. And so
yeah,
combating that
we
is
need a
actually
fall
really hard.
break.
hmm
Yeah, there's not really.
We need like a mental reset because I know like a lot of people are like, hey, I don't know what that is, but like
Yeah, there's not really a
mental
real
reason.
fall break in
No.
at least at this school. Like, I think we get literally 1 day.
Yeah, fall break day. That's literally what
Fall
it's
break
called.
day is 1 day, but then
Yeah.
When is
Yeah.
that again?
I have no clue. I can look it up.
soon-ish. I think it's like somewhere
It's in mid-October, I think.
Yeah, I know it's in
Yeah.
October. I just couldn't remember which.
October
Somewhere in
12th, I
October,
think.
yeah.
Alright.
I think I've sort of adjusted my mindset to be like, all the things that I want to do are long term, so yeah, I might as well take one step now over like trying to take 20 steps at a time, right? Even
Right.
if- and I
October
feel like
12th is
that's
fall break day, by the way. Sorry.
October 12th.
Yeah.
Marking that on my calendar right now, baby.
It's a
Time to-
Monday.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Time to take that opportunity. To
Yeah, that's
just
like
go
the day
right
that I need a fall break
this
day
way.
the least, because Monday is just one class for me.
Yeah,
it's like the
same.
class that's the most
Oh,
Yeah, I've got
relaxing
one class
and
that day
easiest.
too.
My
I have
one
four.
class I have on Monday.
And I've worked that day too, so
I
it's
don't
just even
even
worse.
I don't even usually watch my one Monday class on Monday. I normally watch it on Tuesday, and I spend my whole day Monday just doing homework,
That's
which
fair.
I'm still gonna do on fall break day. We've already had a one Monday off. I literally didn't notice. I didn't notice that it was a day off until the next day when I tried to pull up the lecture.
I mean, how
from the
would you
previous day,
if we're
and I
online?
realized there wasn't one.
Yeah. Anyways, I feel like that's the good
Oh,
point to
wait.
kind of end on, unless there's
Yeah.
any other comments that people had regarding.
I accidentally cut off one when I brought up the fall break day, so I feel
Yeah,
like
what
you
were you
should.
saying?
I mean,
like
That's
your
fine.
I'm
baby
just saying
steps.
like the
Baby
baby
steps.
steps thing, but like knowing that like the goals you set for yourself or like for your class rate aren't like the time frames are adjusted and you have to take that into account, right? Like
Mhm.
the time and the places you'd have to be able to get that done in a shorter time frame aren't there anymore, and you have to like space it out, right? Like
Yeah.
not look to do all your homework in one 4 hour session, but instead over 2 days, 2 hours is a lot easier.
Wait, is that not
Right.
the correct way to do homework?
That
Have I been
doesn't
doing it
mean-
wrong for 4 years?
You have been
I
doing it
kinda
wrong
do
for
mine-
4 years.
I kind of do mine in one 14-hour session. on
There we
Sunday
go.
night.
That's what I like to hear. That's
I do mine like every day, like 2 hours or something.
I still
that's
have to
good.
design. I still have
Sunday,
to make another design and a half for a fucking chair.
Oh my God.
Sunday starting at noon, and then ending Monday 4 a.m. Best session ever.
Yeah.
No, I don't even get like that's the thing, right? Like for me, my homeworks is just so boring as well.
I mean, I'll just
I
say,
just don't.
no matter what it is, if I sit down to do a homework, I will do homework. I will pick an assignment. I will sit down. I will work until it's finished, and when it's finished, I'm done. And
Yeah, and I that's what I do
if
too.
if it goes like so long that I literally could not possibly finish it in one sitting, like that's the only time like I don't do it all in one sitting.
Yeah,
I do like to
literally-
take some breaks though, in like a long sitting. Like
Nah,
I,
I find
bathroom, walk around just to clear my head, and then like
I only do that if I completely like get stuck on something. If I'm
Yeah.
still like, because if I can get into a rhythm,
you're in the flow state.
typically I can. Yeah,
Flow state, baby.
I'm really good at getting into that on projects.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when I do get homework, I literally just do it all in one sitting, and then I'm like, okay, I'm done with that. Time to throw myself at the punching bag and blow off some steam.
Nice.
Mhm. So yeah, those are kind of our I guess our ways to cope with burnout.
Or I just
burnout.
or I just run on the treadmill that's like 6 feet behind me.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I go on walks. Walks
Yeah,
are
I
nice.
I just walk
walk
outside.
around my apartment,
Yeah.
lie down on my bed, lie down on my bed or get food.
Mm,
I want to walk.
food.
I want to walk outside, but yeah.
Who's getting dinner
Yeah.
with me? Talking about food.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good place to end,
Yeah.
isn't it? Do you
I
guys agree? That's
tend
a
to
pretty
agree.
solid place
Yep.
to end. Obviously, you've heard our stories about burnout, our takes on it, as well as like our ways of managing or coping with burnout, either
Yeah.
academic or in video games.
Feel free to share yours in the comments section under the YouTube upload of this video.
So we're gonna upload this to YouTube. Not only we're gonna live stream this, we're gonna upload this VOD to YouTube. So in case you missed the live stream, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Comment down like what your coping mechanisms are for burnout and how
Yeah.
you combat burnout, because that is a very real issue that's happening, not just in industry, but also, and not just in schools, but all around due to this whole pandemic. And Greg, I feel like you had something to say regarding a very important thing coming up in November or December.
Greg forgot.
Registration about something?
It starts
November.
with the V, Greg.
Starts with a V, ends with the
Ends with
O.
an oat, yeah.
No idea what you're talking about right now.
Wait, actually?
Oh my
Please,
god,
I thought
Greg,
this was
don't choke this like Juan choked the natty. Stop.
No,
We're not a
I'm gonna
bunch
go
of
choke-
chokers, man.
I'm gonna go choke on some other natties after this.
Oh my god.
You are.
Nah, just make sure
If you have not completed your 2020 census, do so as soon as possible. And if you have not registered to vote yet and you're eligible, register to vote.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, please do vote. That
Yeah,
helps
vote for
people.
vote.
We're not gonna
like
tell you who
myself.
we're not gonna tell you to vote for. That's none of our fucking business.
Just
Nah, we don't give a
vote.
shit. We just
Just
want
vote.
you
give a
to
shit.
up
We
those
just want
voter
you-
turnouts.
Like literally, as long as our voter turnout is like not for our age demographic is not below 50%, I'm good. I don't care. I just
Yeah.
the fact that is
Because all
a
your votes
realistic
actually affect people
possibility.
like me, a foreigner. So
Mhm.
Don't let the boomers
Want
get what they
again.
want.
I am one again.
Congrats. A sim gets to end as one, and
Yes.
so yeah, with that, I think we're gonna
Can I get
end.
the end as awesome?
Can you turn off more
Awesome, turn off your
webcams?
camera.
Oh my god.
I think Juan becomes
Juan is Juan again.
Juan is Juan again. There we go.
I am right.
So with that, I think we're gonna end it off with
Yes.
just both Greg and I's beautiful faces. We're gonna end off the stream right now, and I believe that's all we have for you
Yeah.
for today. We'll come out with the next with another topic to talk about,
Hey,
converse
don't
about
worry.
Maldon
Don't
together.
worry.
Very soon. Please be sure to go to our YouTube channel, subscribe for
Go to our
later
Twitch
for
channel,
updates.
follow there.
Follow our Twitch channel, and then yeah, we hope to
Twitter,
catch
our
you in the next
Instagram.
one.
Join
What'd you
the
say, Juan?
Discord.
Oh
Join
yeah,
our
join the
Discord.
Discord and Mald with
Join the
us.
Discord. Follow our Twitter, Instagram, YouTube.
Get us to 100 YouTube subs.
Please.
We're at like
Yeah.
5 or something. Yeah.
Exactly. We're really close. We'd really appreciate you guys to just
Yeah.
subscribe. Make sure you like the videos if you like this type of content. Make sure to comment on how you cope with burnout. And I think that's about it for today.
Yeah.
I've been your
Yep.
host, Pavan, alongside Greg, Juan, Ryan, and Asim. And we hope you have a
Also-
good day or whatever time you're watching it. Good night,
Also-
good evening, good afternoon,
also-
whatever it is.
Juan has something to say.
If you guys are burnt out from watching this thing because it burns you out, take breaks.
Take
about
breaks
it.
to spread this
Think
out,
about it.
man.
Think about it.
It's
Hey.
the end of the video. Great time to talk.
All right, with that, I think we're good to go offline now.
Yep.
Stop the recording.